beautiful. Just getting set up here. Let's see. Good morning, Ethereal. Happy new moon. How are you today? How's everyone feeling? All right, almost set up here. Good. Music's a little bit loud, maybe not on your side, so it's hard to tell. All right, happy Sunday. I feel like I've been gone forever. Like I taught on Wednesday, but it feels like forever ago. Just getting used to this April schedule of teaching Sunday, Mondays, and Wednesdays. But yeah, a really relaxing day away from social media yesterday. Just took a little tech Sabbath. Finished a book I was reading. Good morning, Papa Mario. Hello, welcome. Alright, so today is the new moon. Blank slate in the sky, blank slate in our lives. Just an opportunity to kind of reset and see what we want to do more of, what we want to bring into our lives. So we're going to be doing some Chandra Namaskar, some moon salutations in honor of this new moon. And but if there's anything else, any body part or something that you want to give some extra love to today, then you can just drop that in the comments, and I'll make sure to address it, and we'll go there. We'll make sure to add that to the sequence. So we're going to start in just a minute here. So what we do is begin with a grounding seated meditation, then go into the movement portion, which will be yoga poses, some mobility work, joint resiliency, lymphatic shaking, all that good stuff. And then we'll end with a nice long shavasana, final relaxation pose. Everything that I lead you through is an invitation, so don't get too hung up on things that you feel like you can't do. Just attempt them, and then modify accordingly. And if you're not sure how to modify, drop it in the comments, and I'll give you an alternative movement to do. But yeah, it's not about how it looks, it's about how it feels in your body. So let's pause that. You might want to lay out your mat if you haven't already, or a place to practice on, blanket, towel, and whatnot. We'll start in a comfortable seated position. That might be in a chair for you. That's all good. If it's on the ground, you might be in Sukhasana. That's easy sitting pose with your legs crossed. Just let your knees fall away, hips relax. If this brings pain to your lower back, or it's difficult to sit like this, but you're working towards it, you can sit up on a blanket or a block. So I just sit at the very edge of the blanket or the pillow, and then I just let my hips tilt forward. That's going to help bring your knees lower than your hips. My knees are still higher than my hips, but they're lower than they were before. It just helps straighten the spine out. If you don't have one of those, don't get too hung up on it. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't, to bring it for myself. Hands come to rest on the lap, and we just want to be seated up nice and tall with heart over hips, head over heart. Everything on silent. close our eyes if that's comfortable for you, or lower them to a soft gaze just beyond your legs, not looking at anything in particular. And we'll start with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, shoulders rise up towards the ears, and an audible sigh out through the mouth, shoulders drop away. Allow the breath to continue in and out through the nose if that's available. Just returning to a natural breath's pace. We'll take a moment here just to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. Become present to yourself here in this space, here in this moment. Begin to allow sounds into your awareness. And the sounds might be at a distance, like passing traffic or singing birds outside your window. Or they might be within your home, the humming of a fluorescent light or the movement or a pet or roommate. Letting all sounds in, all part of this moment, this experience. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. The weight of your hands on your knees. Just notice the body and how it feels. Just a general sense of the body. We'll begin to scan your body from head down towards toes. Checking in for any places of tightness or sensitivity, any restlessness or fidgeting. Just taking note to work into these spaces that call out for your attention throughout your movement practice here today. And we'll shift that attention from the body, Annamaya Kosha, to the energetic level, Pranamaya Kosha. Noticing where you're at energetically on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl into bed. 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. Shifting that awareness to the breath. No need to change it, just observe. Inhalations, exhalations, and whatever space in between. Shifting the awareness up to the mind, Manamaya Kosha, allowing thoughts and feelings to arise freely. I'm just observing them from a distance, like clouds passing in the sky. No need to interact. They'll keep floating by. Notice what are the quality of the thoughts today. Do they have a positive or a negative tilt to them? Are they ruminating on the past or attempting to predict the future? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. Bring the attention back down to the breath. Actively expanding the breath now. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Belly expands on the inhale like a balloon inflating. And exhales, draw belly button in towards spine, deflating in the torso. Deep breaths in and out to the belly. And we'll begin our pranayam, our breathing exercise this month. It's called box breath. So it's a 4-part breath. We'll inhale through the nose for the count of 4. Hold the breath for the count of 4. Exhale for the count of 4. And hold the breath for the count of 4. So first, just a cleansing breath so we can start together. Deep breath in through the nose. Sigh it out. Inhaling through the nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, continuing at your own pace, counting within your head. See if you can completely exhale within that 4 count or slow the count down to accommodate that. Just make sure that all 4 sides are equal timing. And the next time you exhale, no rush to get there. Just release any retention or effort from the breath. Returning to your natural breath pace, no rush. We'll take a few breaths here as we all arrive. And just notice if that practice has changed your natural breath pacing. And just noticing any effects, not good or bad, not right or wrong, just noticing. We'll bring our hands to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. No space between the fingers and the thumbs pressed into the sternum. Consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice here today. Your reason for showing up to the mat, your reason for practicing. The invitation here is just to set it in the present tense and the affirmative. For example, it might sound like, I flow through life with ease and grace. And we'll set that intention with the sound of Om. You're invited to chant along with me, of course. First, a cleansing breath. Allow your hands to release down to your lap, chin drops towards chest. Inhaling, right ear rolls over towards right shoulder. Exhaling, chin to chest. Left ear towards left shoulder. Good morning and welcome in, Kai, Space Cadet, but I'm here. Where my leaf? Anything cool happening in the space? Well, you came just in time for pranayam. I don't know if you stayed, but we're working on moon salutations today for the new moon. So you're welcome to join, of course. Just beginning the movement portion of practice. And Next time the head rolls through center, bring it up to neutral and begin to roll the shoulders forward. Just working into opening up the space in the upper back, space between the shoulder blades. So we've been practicing pranayama and these breathing exercises, some of us since January. I think some of you guys that are here since November. So we always stop to see kind of like what the effect was, and you might be experiencing a different effect with this pranayama than past ones. So we'll roll the shoulders back now, opening up the chest, space around the collarbones. So you might be finding that with this breath holding practice, your heart rate actually elevates, whereas in past breathing techniques, it's slowed down. If that's happening, that's a normal reaction as well. It's not necessarily the intended reaction. As you become more used to it, your body will be less panicked about breath retention and holding the breath, and you will be able to find that a lot more relaxing. All right, coming to stillness in the shoulders. Let's inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, shoulders melt away. Right hand releases down. On the inhale, left arm reaches over, and we're breathing into these side ribs. Left hip glued to the ground. Exhale, up through center. Inhale over to the left. Right hips glued down, right arms reaching over. I'm breathing into these intercostal muscles, the space between the ribs. And exhaling back through center. Just connecting breath with movement here. Inhaling to reach and stretch. Exhaling to reset. So if you're finding yourself very panicked in that 4-part breath, then you can actually play with moving a bit quicker, or rather breathing a bit quicker or a bit slower. So if you're feeling rushed in the breath from the count, then slow it down. Or if you're feeling panicked on the holding, you can shorten that time. So you can just count to 4 faster or slower to accommodate where you're at in this moment. And as you find the space mentally and physically in your breath to play a bit more, you can slow that count down. Right, next time your arms are up towards the sky, take a deep breath in, and exhale, twist to the right. Left hand lands on the right knee, right hand lands on the ground behind you. Inhaling up through center, and exhale, twist to the left. Inhaling to rise, exhaling to twist. So these aren't the deepest twists of your life or anything like that. We're just waking the spine up to this movement. Maybe going a little deeper with each twist, but really not forcing anything. Just a little dynamic stretching and movement here. Next time you're up through center, we'll bend in the elbows, hands come to ear height. Just give the hands a wave. We'll just warm up the hands and the wrists here, all the muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So the idea with all these pranayams is that you might be able to use them in the rest of your life as well. Then palms flip down, fingers wiggle side to side. We're not moving elbows or shoulders, just the fingers side to side, warming up the hands, so that you can actually use these breathing practices when things show up in the rest of your life, when you just need a break and you could use an alternative to social media scrolling, or smoking cigarettes or vaping, or whatever it is your thing that you go to distract yourself from irritation or agitation. Then and palms flip towards the sky. Fingers spread wide. It's like you're trying to bring your fingertips to the forearm and rotate. That you might play with using these breathing techniques instead. Maybe your thing is taking it out on the people around you. And that's not a judgment, because that was definitely something I used to do a lot. But instead just stepping away from the computer, from the person, from the situation, and being able to do those deep belly breaths, Dirga Pranayam, Ujjayi Pranayam, this 4-part breath, equal part breathing, and use those as tools to calm down and reset, and just get grounded in the reality of the present moment. Gently shake water off. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's work on some neck resiliency here, some neck movements. We'll bring the fingers to the jaw bone just below the knee, just below your ear. Okay, fingers come out about an inch away, and we'll slide the head side to side. So we're not turning the head, we're sliding, and we're not lifting the shoulders. Staying melted away. Just the head and neck are putting in effort here. If this is very frustrating and difficult, you can just bring the fingers in closer. They can just be like a centimeter away. You will slowly bring the fingers further away as these parts of the neck and this ability to move in this shape and direction opens up. Still, we're breathing fully. 3, 2, 1. All right, just drop the ears side to side, side to side. All right, let's go through some neck rolls, and then we'll get the rest of the body moving. You can stay facing forward. I just turned to the side so you can see what the movement looks like. Hello, Mocha Spice. All right. Whole body's relaxed from the shoulders down. Just chin tucks down towards chest. It rolls all the way down, all the way forward, up, back, and down. Like I'm making a circle with my nose. Going to the full edges of my range of motion in my cervical spine, in my neck. Keeping it slow and smooth. Then we'll change directions, leading with the chin. We just up, forward, down, and pulls back in. Opening up new spaces in the neck. And this movement, or movement in general, signals synovial fluid to be sent to joints. So we're just imagining every vertebra in the neck moving independently, freely, painlessly. We got one last cycle. And back to center. Beautiful. All right, let's extend the legs out in front. Sure, that feels good. So, voice is going. All right, legs extended out in front. Spread and scrunch the toes. So dark. Better. Spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out the ankles. Change directions. Just waking up the feet and the lower legs. Bend in the knees, feet come nice and wide. And we'll just drop the knees side to side. So just waking up the hips here. Feet are far enough apart that the inside knee lands on the ground, not on the foot. Landing the knees over to the right. The right hand lands close into the body on the ground. Left arm sweeps upward, lifting hips and chest. Inhaling to rise. And exhale, hips touch down. Left hand touches down, knees fall over to the left. And inhale, sweeps the right arm up, lifting chest and hips. Exhale, hips touch down. Knees come over to the other side. So we're connecting breath and movement here. Inhaling to rise and open. Exhaling to touch down and change sides. So we're working on opening up the hips here, as well as the chest. This time when you come up on the right side, we'll just give 3 big back strokes with this left arm. And the breathing continues, no need to hold the breath. Touching the hips down after that 3rd cycle, over to the left. We sweep the right arm up, and big back strokes here, so waking up the shoulder. Hips touch down after that 3rd cycle, knees fall over to the right, hands come to frame the right knee, and we press it back into our tabletop pose. Shoulders over wrists, knees over below hips rather. On an inhale, belly drops, hips and chest rise for cow pose. And exhale for cat, rounding the spine, chin tucks towards chest. Inhale, cow pose. Hands pressing down and back, knees pressing down and forward like you're trying to scrunch your mat together to deeply arch the spine. And exhaling to round, the hands press down and forward, knees press down and back. Like you're trying to spread your mat apart for cat, deeply rounding the spine. Here, calibrate with your own breath space. Let the speed of your body be informed by the length of your breath. And still we're breathing in and out through the nose. You might even bring in that Ujjayi pranayama, that slight constriction in the back of the throat so that you can hear your breath audibly on that exhale in particular. Your next exhale through cat pose. Or release to neutral, let that be your last. Toes tuck under, and we're going to sit back on the heels. So you're giving the feet a stretch here. The further back you sit, the more weight there is. So the further forward you sit, the less weight. You want to be pressing back to that edge. So it's going to probably feel uncomfortable. Fingers interlace. And we're just rolling out the wrists, like making a figure 8. It's called wrist flossing. Change directions. Any clicks or cracks, we're just getting it out of the system here. It's okay if your feet are talking to you right now. It's all good. We're just here for another 3, 2, 1. All right. Untuck the toes. You can gently tap. Depending, I'm not going to do it because I don't hate my neighbors that much. Actually, I like them quite a bit. But you can smack your feet on the ground, nice and gentle, to release. All right, I'm just going to lift this up. Yeah. All right. Then we're going to to step it up to the mat. Feet come up to meet the hands. Heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat. So your feet can be up to to the edges of the mat. Yes. Okay, here we go. Bending in the knees, hips sink down heavy, and head comes up light for a deep squat. And then extend the legs long, head heavy. So we're going between Malasana, deep squat, and Uttanasana, forward fold. Doesn't have to be your deepest, perfectest expression of either posture. We're just going between one and the other, between one and the other. Waking up the legs. And then next time your legs extend for that forward fold, stay there and the breathing continues. So the knees can be a little or a lot bent here, so much so that your belly can even hang out on your thighs if that feels good to you. We'll give the head a nod yes. Give the head a shake no. Grab opposite elbows, creating a frame for the head. And here for ragdoll, just moving freely here. You might bounce forward and back. Give it a sway, side to side. I like doing figure eights, letting my hips get involved and all that. Good stuff. We're just letting the weight of the head and the arms really pull on the spine to elongate the back. So if the legs are where you feel most of this, just bend the knees even more. And return it to center. Releasing the hands, heel toe the feet in towards one another. Big toes come to touch, a little space between the ankles. And we'll roll it up all the way to stand one vertebra at a time. Head comes up last, then arms sweep up, and exhale, hands to heart center. This is, so exciting. What's so exciting? Oh, what's it called? Ragdoll? Yeah, it's quite a vigorous movement. Alright, big toes come to touch. We'll turn to face the long side of your mat. I'm not sure how you guys usually set up your mats, but if it's in the same direction as mine, that would be good for this particular sequence that we've got going on. So big toes come to touch, just a little space between the heels so that the ankles don't knock together. Then arms sweep up overhead. Good morning, Siobhan on Facebook. Hello, friend. And fingers are going to interlace for our steeple pose. So fingers interlace, and then we release the index fingers. So it's like you're pointing to the sky. We bring the biceps back behind the ears, relax the shoulders. And then it's a slight tuck of the hips. So here I am reaching up. We're just going to tuck the hips in, just engaging the lower abs so that your butt's not sticking out. Instead, it's tucked in. Right, all zipped in. Deep breath in here. And exhale, bend over to the right. Hips press out to the left. So Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So we're pressing through this whole side body. Once again, we're opening up the space between the intercostal muscles, the space in the ribs, as well as the hips. One more breath in here. And bring it back up to center. Reset. Make sure your lower back has length. Deep breath in, get tall. And exhale over to the left. Hips press out to the right to counterbalance. My arms are strong. Doing my best to not bend the elbows at all. Just bring the elbows back behind the ears. Chest stays open. This left shoulder really pressing forward and open as well. And there's no bend in the knees. Bending in the left knee is super tempting, but we avoid that. And back up through center. So release the arms down parallel to the ground. Let's just take a step out in both directions. Turn the heels in, the toes out. Turn the thumbs towards the sky, palms open. Star pose. So I'm reaching. So it's easy to be in the shape of this pose, but to be in the actual activation of it, we're pressing the heels into the ground, reaching through the fingertips, and the crown of the head is reaching towards the sky. Just really an extension type pose. Deep breath in here. And exhale, bend in the knees, bend in the elbows for goddess pose. So now we're coming into 90 degrees in the elbows and knees. Trying to keep the knees up over the ankles instead of letting them fall in. We're pressing them back, back, back. Shoulder blades are squeezing together. Got one more deep breath here. Then arms open up like the letter T, extend the legs. Left toes turn to face the long side of the mat. Right toes facing the short end of the mat. Hands can come onto the hips. We'll tilt the right hip down. So it's like I'm a little teapot, little kid dance. Right arm spout reaches far, far away, as far as you can, taking your torso with you. Then drop this right hand to the inside of the right calf. Left arm sweeps open for triangle pose. You should feel a deep stretch on this inner right leg. If you feel it on the knee instead of the leg, you can bring a little bend to the knee. Not a deep bend, just a little micro bend. Squeezing the muscles of the thigh will also help avoid any pain in the knee, any strain on the knee, as we're engaging the muscles that support the knee. I'm pressing this bottom hand strong into the inside of this leg, so strong that I can use it as leverage to keep this left shoulder back. Just keeping this left shoulder stacked over the right shoulder for Trikonasana triangle pose. And these fingertips reaching towards the sky. It might feel okay for you to play with the balance of it by looking up towards that top hand. If this hurts your neck, bring it back to neutral, just looking forward, then chin tucks down towards chest, and roll the head up after that. That just gives a little space to the neck. And breathing fully here. Then bend in the right knee, hands come down to frame that knee for a runner's lunge. So I have a little extra space here, so I just scooch my foot back and press my hips down and forward. Right knee's over right ankle. I'm pressing the back of my left knee towards the sky, so I'm getting a nice deep stretch in the front left thigh here. Then I'm going to turn both toes to face long side of the mat. So just pivot it. Now both my feet are facing this long side of the mat. Option 1, your heel is on the ground. So if your heel is on the ground here, your right heel is on the ground here, you might turn this extended foot up towards the sky, and that's where the work will be for you. You'll feel the stretch here. Well, likely also on this right thigh and hip. Option 2 is you're on, your heel doesn't reach the ground, then instead of pressing it towards the ground, just come up onto the toes. Just like we were in our toe stand here, where the toes are tucked under, but it's with the knees lifted. So, you're sitting back on the heel, and the heel is directly over the toes. Thigh comes parallel to the ground. This foot can stay down, or you can play with turning the toes towards the sky. Your hips will kind of naturally tell you which one feels better for you. One's not even necessarily more advanced than the other, it's just two variations. Option 3 is you're here. You're just in a side squat stretch. This is a great place to be, you're definitely feeling it. Okay. You're just working towards lowering the hips. Maybe you're listening to this knee over my voice. Alright, we've been here quite a while, so let's move into the next posture. No matter which of the 3 variations you're in, which is Malasana, deep squat. So I pull this other leg in, now I'm sitting in a deep squat in the center. So, once again, we have options. Option 1, your heels touch the ground. Okay? Maybe working towards getting your feet a bit more parallel to one another. Elbows come to the inside of the knees to give your chest a little leverage to come up over the hips. Option 2, your feet don't reach the ground, your heels don't reach the ground. You can use another yoga mat, a blanket, or a towel to place beneath your heels. And then once again, use the elbows on the inside of the knees to help bring your chest up over your hips. So likely you're here, and we're working towards getting your chest up over your hips, like your back is up against a wall. Okay. Malasana, deep squat. So this pose is just one of like the integral human poses that we would always access before chairs were an option. We just got one more deep breath here. It's good for digestion, for the joints. All right, hands come down to frame the left foot. Right leg gets sent back for our runner's lunge. All right, just taking a moment here and pressing back through the right heel, extending this knee up towards the sky. Left knee's over left ankle. And bring both hands to the inside of the left foot. Drop the right heel down, toes are facing the long side of the mat. And then right arm opens up, extended side ankle. Power press through the front leg to extend it to come into triangle pose. So now my bottom arm is pressing into the calf. I'm using this as leverage to pull the right shoulder up and over the left shoulder, reaching fingertips towards the sky. Trikonasana triangle pose. Then you might look up towards the top hand. You can bring the chin in towards chest and then look up to relieve some tension in the neck if that is an issue for you. And we're still strong in the legs, strong in the breath. In and out through the nose if that's a possibility for you. Bend in that front knee through warrior 2, bringing shoulders up over hips. Extend the legs straight, both toes face out. Bend in the knees, goddess pose. Strong shoulder blades squeezing together like you're holding a pencil behind your back. Glutes squeeze tight to keep knees up over ankles. We've got a breath here. Through star pose, extending arms and legs. Then toes face forward and we'll step it together. Deep breath in, side out. Awesome. All right, big toes come to touch, a little space between the ankles. Arms sweep up overhead, fingers interlace. Now we're going to change the interlace. So right finger's on top, whichever finger's on top, we're going to bring the other index finger on top, changing the orientation to bring their non-dominant hand on top. Then release index fingers. So I'm just pointing towards the sky. It's called steeple pose. Biceps behind the ear, shoulders drop away. Length in the lower back, so we're extending the lower back by squeezing the glutes, tucking the hips in. Deep breath in. Exhale, bend over to the left, hips press out to the right, creating a crescent moon shape with the body. Legs are strong and straight, no bending in the knees. Arms are strong and straight, no bending in the elbows. And still full breathing here. Inhale brings you back up through center, reset, relaxing shoulders, lengthening the lower back, deep breath in. And exhale over to the right. Hips press out to the left to counterbalance. That bottom right shoulder is pressing forward to keep the chest open. Good morning, Sammy Yoga. Keeping the chest open, legs strong. welcome, you're meeting us right at the second cycle of our moon salutations. We'll bring it back up through center. And as we release the arms down parallel to the ground, we release the legs out nice and wide as well. Heels come in, toes come out, thumbs point to the sky, fingers reaching, deep breath in. And exhale, bend in the knees, bend in the elbows for goddess pose. We're working towards 90 degrees and then knees and the elbows. We're just going as deep as you can. Sometimes it's a little deeper than you think. The exhales, you can always deepen a bit more just to play with that option. Got one more breath here, strengthening the legs. Extend the arms and legs straight. Right toes turn to face the long side of the mat. Left toes turn to face the short side of the mat. The hands can come onto the hips, and we're dropping this left hip down. So, hips are square, left hips turn down. Pop down. You're popping your right hip up. Got it? Then the spout of your teapot extends out, so left arm is reaching out, out, out. Drop this hand down to the inside, the calf muscle of the leg, and the right arm reaches up towards the sky. I'm using this bottom arm as leverage to keep the right shoulder back. My legs are strong. I'm squeezing these muscles. You feel the knee actually lift and lock into place when that is activated. If it's still feeling like a lot of pressure or like the whole pose is in the knee, bring a little bend to it. I'm kind of exaggerating here to show you which knee you're bending, but really, so it's your left knee. It can just be the slightest bend, and that will be, you'll feel that sharp pain should go away. We definitely don't want to bring any sharp pain into the joints. We want to alleviate that. We want to instead be focusing on the stretch on the hamstring, the hip flexor, the side body. And the head might turn to look at top hand to give the neck a stretch. This also plays with and challenges your balance as your drishti, your focal point, has moved towards the sky. So it's not mandatory, it's just an offering. If you'd like to play with that, we've just got one more breath here in Trikonasana triangle pose. Then looking down at the front foot, bend in the left knee, hands come down to frame that foot, pivoting onto the back toes for a runner's lunge. Press back through the right heel, knees pressing towards the sky. Left knee over left ankle, and pressing the hips down and forward. Giving the right thigh a deep stretch. We'll turn the feet towards the long side of the mat. And here we have our options once more. You might be up here in this side stretch, just working towards getting the hips deep, getting that deep bend in the left knee. Or you might have your hips down low and your heel on the ground, the toe turned towards the sky or working towards that. Or you might be in the yogi toe stand variation where your heel is lifted. Right? Heel is lifted, toes are tucked under, thighs parallel to the floor, knees not touching the floor. So just being where you're at and knowing that that's perfect, wherever you're at, wherever you're, whatever variation you're in, you're still opening up the same spaces in your body, and going at your own pace. There's a lot of good that comes from going at your own pace. There's no rush. It's not a dance routine. Just breathing here in shapes. All right, let's bring it to center. So your hands can be on the ground for this variation, or if you like play with a little challenge, a little balance. That right foot comes in, and we shift the hips towards center for our deep squat malasana. Once again, the heels don't touch the ground, folded blanket or towel comes below the heels. Fold it as many times as necessary so that your heels are pressing into something. So that's what's going to help you get into this posture, is bringing the weight back and into the heels. And that's going to be really hard to do if your heels aren't reaching the ground. So that's why we bring in the blanket or the towel below the heels to bring that weight back. Whether you have a towel under your heels or the ground, elbows press into the inside of the knees to help bring the chest up over the hips. So I'm leaning back. It's like my back's pressed up against a wall. How am I doing that? Elbows are pressing into the knees. It helps open up the hips. It's almost like you're a frog on a lily pad. So Malasana, this deep squat pose, actually a posture used to, it still is a posture that helps you give birth. So this is like really good for all of your like organs below because they're stacked. You're using your hips. They're also good for digestion, using the restroom, or even just sitting when you don't have a chair available to you. So this is just like a very natural posture for humans to be seated in that we just never really learn in our like Western cultures. We're just taught how to sit properly in a chair. So I think this is like a really great posture to kind of reclaim as part of our humanity and part of your joint and physical health. So that's my little diatribe about about Malasana. I'm sure you're sick of it already. So let's turn the right toes towards the short end of the mat. Hands come to frame that foot and left leg gets sent back. Runner's lunge. Find your spacing, right knee over right ankle, left heels pressing back, left knee, back of knees pressing up towards the sky. We're stretching out this front thigh by pressing the hips forward and down. Hands come to the inside of the right foot. Left heel touches down, toes face the long side of the mat. And then left arm sweeps open towards the sky. It's extended side angle pose. Then we're going to power press through the right leg to straighten it out, coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So squeezing the muscles around the legs, especially that right leg, to hold the knee in place. If not, a little bend to that knee is also fine. Pressing into the inner side of that leg. So even if you know that you can reach the ground here, still play with pressing into the leg instead, so that you get that like lifted tight feeling in the top body. You can look up towards the top hand, so that we can build strength as well as flexibility here instead of just hanging on the joints, which can feel good in the short term. Believe me, I know I'm like super mobile, but in the long term can actually cause damage to the ligaments and tendons. So instead we want to build muscle and slowly build muscle and stability and slowly build that flexibility. Right? Bending in the right knee, warrior two. Extend both legs straight, toes point out, heels point in, bend in the knees, bend in the elbows, goddess pose. So our last goddess pose of class, I promise. Just got another full breath here. Star pose. Extending legs and arms, reaching in all 5 directions. Then toes face forward, step hands and feet together. And release the arms down. Nice. Okay, so here we're going to shape it out, coming to the lymphatic shape part of our practice. So what does that look like? We lift and drop the heels with bent knees. We're hitting the heels into the ground to create this shape, this bounce in the body. You can also just actually bounce, take up some space, full jump. If you've got the energy, full jumping is really nice. Whenever I have the energy, I just go for it, because I don't every day. But even just lifting and dropping the heels is great. You can shake out the hands. So what is lymphatic shaking what is the lymphatic system? Why do we do this? So, the lymphatic system is a physical system within the body that moves toxins and waste out of the body. So, you might notice that's quite a theme in how our body works. We take in nutrients, we take in oxygen, and then we have to let go of the byproducts of that through the endocrine system, through the circulatory system, through the respiratory system. Lymphatic system is one of those as well. However, unlike the respiratory system that has lungs and a diaphragm and breathing to keep that cycle going, unlike the circulatory system that has the heart, a pump literally pushing through to make that so, the lymphatic system relies on movement for this fluid to move. And a surefire way, the type of movement that's going to help move and activate the lymphatic system is lymphatic shaking, bouncing. So we do that here because we don't really get much bouncing in our regular yoga class, but I really find it's super important. It's really helped me in my life. Relieve a lot of tension in my shoulders. I like just lifting and dropping my shoulders because I know I carry a lot of pressure and tension in my upper back. It also helps to disrupt pain signals in the nervous system. So people with fibromyalgia can use this as a therapy to actually lower and disrupt the chronic pain that they feel, which is pretty radical considering it's just bouncing around. Yeah, so you're just letting everything that can jiggle and wobble and all of that, building up some heat. So other things that are great for your lymphatic system, drinking water, foam rolling. So we've just got another 30 seconds or so here. So all year we've kind of been working up towards this 3-minute mark, which is the recommended amount of time. Just get another bounce for 3, 2, 1. All right, you might feel that tingly prana running through your system. Oh, warmed up. All right, now for our letting go practice. So like I said, new moons are about manifesting, about bringing things in, but I feel like the moon, like any other god or goddess, would expect some sort of sacrifice before we ask for things. So we're just gonna let a bunch of tension go here through our breath of joy practice. And that's a 4-part breath. It's 3 sips of air in through the nose and a big ha out through the mouth. So that's loud. You can really get into it and yell. And the inhale, it's arms sweep up. Inhale, arms sweep out. Inhale, arms sweep up. And a big ha, arms throw back. Make sure you have space between you and the wall and any furniture. Feet are like shoulders distance apart. And we got about 10 rounds of this. So, in, ha, in, ha, in, ha, in, ha. Left. If you haven't joined in yet, now's your chance. Ha! Hand lands on the belly, hand lands on the heart, eyes closed. And just take a moment here to arrive, to observe what was created. Maybe a higher heart rate, more heat in the body. But what else shows up for you when you let yourself take up space, let yourself just jiggle, bounce, be loud? Or what shows up as resistance from fully participating? Not right or wrong, not good or bad, just something to notice. And gently blink the eyes open. You can take a sip of water. Towel off any sweat. Close, too close. All right, so we're going to be coming down to the mat. If you're already there, we'll meet you there. If not, you can come down with me. All right, so we'll meet at the back of the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands on shins. And exhale, hands down to the ground, knees bend deep, deep, deep. So deep that we come down to seated. Feet come to touch, knees splay out. Give your feet a little bit of a massage here. I was saying it was like opening my feet like a book. Alright, just kind of arriving on the ground. Let's grab our ankles or shins, whatever is accessible to you. Take a deep breath in to get tall. And exhale, hinging forward for our Baddha Konasana bound ankle pose. So I'm just folding over. I'm not trying to get my nose to my toes or anything like that. If anything, it's like I'm trying to get my heart center to my feet. You can press your elbows into the knees. So your hips are probably quite a bit warmed up at this point. So the option here is to grab the ankles or the shins and press the elbows into the knees using the body as leverage to get the knees closer to the ground. So my goal is not for my knees to touch the ground, it's just to get to the edge of that stretch where I can't go any further, where it feels like a good stretch but not painful. I never want to get to the point where the stretch is so deep that it takes your breath away, because we're going to prioritize breath over the shape. Good morning, Sevio. How are you today? If your hips are like, we have done enough today, we do not need to stretch anymore, then don't just leave the elbows out of it and just let the back relax over the legs. Buenas, bien, good. We're just winding down here. Sergio, after lymphatic shaking and moon salutations. Just let your head be heavy if that feels okay in your neck. In either variation of this posture, Baddha Konasana bound ankle pose. Bring it back up to seated. Knees come together. I'm going to gently roll back. Make sure there's no, water bottle or cat behind you. Give yourself a little rock side to side. And feet come down onto the mat, close to the hips. Hands release down by the sides, fingertips grazing the heels or close to it. Shoulders tuck under. And then we're going to roll up to bridge pose. So the hips tuck. So you feel your lower back touch the floor first. And then peel the hips, the lower back, middle back, and upper back up off the ground. Tuck the shoulders under. So I'm like pressing my triceps into the ground instead of my neck. Shoulders are there. Maybe the fingers interlace like you're holding your own hand. And then I'm pressing my fists into the ground too. Squeezing the glutes, squeezing the thighs, and the legs to lift up. And the breathing so full. I can see my belly rise and fall past the tip of my nose. Setu Bandhasana bridge pose. Full breathing here, really strengthening the legs here today. Strengthening the legs and opening the hips. Last deep breath in, really pressing through the heels. And the exhale, releasing in reverse. Unclench the hands, untuck the shoulders, and rolling down one vertebra at a time. Happy hips, touch down last. Feet walk to the outer edges of the mat. Just drop the knees side to side. Next time the knees come up to center, bring the knees in towards the chest and gently release them over to the right. Right hand lands on top of the left knee and left arm opens up like the letter T. Working towards this left shoulder touching the ground. You might even look over your left hand to complete that spinal twist. It's okay if the knees don't touch or if the knees don't touch the ground. If you still have that blanket near you, and your knees don't touch, you can actually keep the folded blanket between your knees so you have something to rest on. So we're not pulling or forcing here. We're just letting breath and gravity to do the work here. Just every exhale melts you softer into the posture. A gentle spinal twist. And head comes back up through center, knees come up through center. We'll gently release the knees over to the left. Right arm opens up like the letter T, and you can look over this right arm as well. Left hand lands lightly on the right knee. For Supta Matsyendrasana on the other side. Just breathing gently here. So once again, this is a great pose for the end of the day. When you get into bed, as you're just preparing for your night's rest. To release any lower back pain that may be, or lower back tension that may be built up throughout the day. And this is a pose that's safe to do even on a fluffy bed. Obviously there's poses that you wouldn't want to do without stable footing, like tree pose or downward facing dog. But this is one of the poses that is even good for in bed. Head comes back up through center, knees come up through center. And then just notice, is there any last movement or wiggle or pose that your body's asking for that would round out your practice? It doesn't have to have a fancy name. Literally just be a wiggle or a stretch. All class, we ask our body, we tell our body what to do, and now we just ask back, is there anything we can do for it? Likely it'll answer not in words, but in a feeling. So if you have that feeling, that inclination, that inspiration to move in a certain type of way, allowing yourself to explore that. Just letting yourself move the last couple moments here in this free movement, free exploration. And we'll prepare for Shavasana, final relaxation pose. Extending the legs down the length of the mat. Feet come at least a foot apart. Legs so relaxed that the feet might splay open to the sides. Shoulders tuck under to support the chest. Arms released down by the sides of the body. Palms face open, maybe 6 inches from the body. A symbol, a mudra of receptivity. Allow yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. And the head's nice and neutral. Gaze up towards the sky. No pillow, no blanket, none of that below the head. Just let the head be on the same plane as the shoulders, hips, and heels. The eyes can close if that's comfortable for you. If not, a soft gaze towards the sky is just fine. If this positioning brings pain to your lower back, bend in the knees, feet come to the outside edges of the mat, and allow the knees to knock together. Lift and tuck the hips, elongating the lower back as you place the hips back down. Broken bridge pose. So either Shavasana or broken bridge pose is appropriate for this next meditation. Of course, if you've been seated and the floor is not accessible to you, then seated just the way we were in our first grounding meditation is absolutely welcome. All right. Ghost Floof, Ghosty, my friend, are you in the audience? If you're not, I'm gonna play some Tibetan singing bowls, but I won't play them if you are, so I don't mess with your experience. All right. I don't think you're here on the weekends. So, Shavasana is all about integration. So we integrate all the effort that we've put into class so far. And like sleep at the end of the night helps us process and store away memories from the day. So Shavasana helps us process and store away experiences from our yoga practice. We'll start this just like we did the first grounding meditation. We'll start this with 3 cleansing breaths, in through the nose and an audible sigh out through the mouth. Shoulders just stay relaxed this time though. And allow the breath to continue in and out through the nose if that's available to you. Inviting your exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalation. Invite space in between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. Tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. All the muscles of the face and jaw relax. So in certain parts of India where yoga originates, and often in other parts of the world as well, the sun was viewed as a destructive force, and the moon as a life-giving one. If you've ever tended a garden or worked on a farm, you may have experienced what led to this belief. As during high noon, when the sun is at its brightest, the plants wilt, leaves scorch, and even us humans can feel drained and burnt. At night, the plants refill and rejuvenate as us humans do. And so the moon is seen as healing and life-giving. So I'll invite you to imagine this scene of yourself lying in a field. You're safe and relaxed. And it's nighttime. And as the moon rises with its healing energy, its healing rays past the hillside, the moonlight reaches the tip of your toes, the bottoms of your feet. As the moon continues to rise, it bathes your whole feet and ankles in its cooling, healing light. The moonlight continues to rise and covers shins and calves, envelops knees, healing along its path. Moonlight covers the thighs, hips, pelvis, the moon continues to rise. The moonlight healing rays cover belly, chest, shoulders, upper arms and elbows illuminated, forearms and wrists enveloped in healing moonlight. Light covers wrists, hands, fingers, fingertips. Moonlight continues to touch and heal throat and neck, chin and jaw, lips, nose, cheeks, eyes, eyebrows and forehead, ears bathed in moonlight, all all the way to the top of the head. Whole body submerged in moonlight. Whole body healing. Whole body healing. Whole body healing. Notice if in your mind, if only for one moment, there was silence in that inner dialogue. Notice if in your breath there's ease. Notice if in your body the places of tension have found space. And the places of restlessness have found peace. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice makes practice. And gently invite your inhalations to deepen and become longer than your exhalations. As fingers begin to wiggle and toes begin to curl. Allowing movement back into the body, head rocks side to side. Arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. Let the knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural. Landing in a fetal position, you can use that bottom arm as a pillow, fully released and fully supported by the ground below you. Take a moment here to bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center in Anjali Mudra, the first. So today we practice Chandra Namaskar Moon Salutations, moon healing, Shavasana meditation. It's quite leg strengthening and hip opening class, to be honest. The first namaste said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste said out loud to community that held this space. Namaste. Thank you to everyone who joined me today. I hope you found something that serves you. Namaste, Bodhi. Namaste, Hurley Dog. What's so funny? And Lar4444, thank you. Namaste, my friend. Sammy Yoga Mom, I'm glad that you stayed through. And Torlia, definitely need to follow along on Monday. 100%. You're totally invited. Every Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday, same time, same place on the internet for class. How's everybody feeling? How did that class land? Namaste, Papa Mario. Was that physically, how's that feeling for everybody? I know those that Skandasana, that like side deep squat, is like the bane of a lot of people's existence. And the deep squat in general. Feeling good. I missed doing it last Sunday. Yes, so last Sunday I didn't even send out any texts or anything because it was Easter, so I was like, oh, I don't know if it's like, so we had like a little bit of a smaller class than usual last Sunday because I didn't want to mess with anybody. Maybe people wanted to do yoga before meeting up with their families. I feel like people are kind of meeting up with their families this year as opposed to last year with COVID. I don't know. How was everyone's Easter? We didn't do anything particularly special for it. We just had like our regular Sunday anime night. But yeah. I missed you too. Yeah. So we'll see. Let's see who's on that we can raid. So tomorrow we'll be meeting at the same time, same place. I had a good Easter with my parents and sister. That's awesome. I know. What's it called? My whole family's vaccinated now. I'm like the only one who hasn't been vaccinated. So, of like my immediate family. So, if I was on the East Coast, then I probably would have spent Easter with them. So I'm pretty good at quarantining and self-isolating. I have like one friend out here, functional alcoholic. He's not in the comments right now, but if you ever see that name, he's like my IRL friend that I actually see. He's like the only one. So yeah, I think that a lot of people were with their families last weekend. So I'm really grateful that you guys came back. Came back this week to practice with me. Awesome. I'm gonna get my first shot of the Moderna one later today. Oh wow. Okay. Good for you. Sweet. Yeah, a bunch of my friends on the East Coast are vaccinated too. I don't know. I'm here in California, so I don't really know anybody that's been vaccinated out here that's like my age. I guess I do a couple, but they're all like essential workers and people and friends in LA because LA opened up. So we'll see what San Diego looks like. All right. So awesome. Okay, so I'm hoping I don't get any side effects. Hoping you and Pat can get one soon. Thank you, friend. I hope, I'm definitely sending some good vibes your way. I only have one friend who's had side effects from the vaccines. And it was the Johnson & Johnson one. She got like really sick, but she's fine now. And I don't know anybody else who's had any side effects. And I know like 40 people who've gotten vaccinated already, all different ages and like physical health spectrum, like really healthy people and like not healthy people. And like I literally just know one person who got really sick, and she has an autoimmune situation going on. So that was already happening. So I think that maybe played a thing in it, played a part in it. Sets and reps is on, but I feel like on Sundays there's something about I Ping Tai Chi that just feels right. Like I like doing the movements that she does too. So let's go and raid I ping Tai Chi and say hello to her. She's in Connecticut actually. So she's an East Coast small business owner, and it looks like she has like almost 70 people in her chat. So maybe she can get partnered with our help. So let's just go over there and say hello to her. I love all of you guys. I appreciate you all. And I will see you tomorrow or Wednesday or next Sunday. I'm around. So have a good day, you too. All right, bye friends.